Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Q&A Cafe for Business One. Thanks for joining us on this Thursday, July 9th. Today, we're doing a tour of browser access with Kevin Langford. And I just wanted to remind everyone that we are recording this session and it will be sent out in an email afterwards, as well as information on how to register for our next session, which will be Thursday, July 23rd. We're doing formatted searches with Business One. So please join us for that on the 23rd of July. And without further ado, I'll send it over to Kevin, and I'll mute myself here.
This is going to be a quick overview of the web client for SAP Business One. And we're going to go through a few scenarios with the sales order, editing on the web client, and copying the documents over to other marketing documents. And we'll also do a little bit of a comparison between the web and desktop client. But as you can see here, we have the portal page where you can navigate from any computer. This is useful because you won't need a VPN to connect to your company database. This will just be a URL that you can access using any computer, and having a trusted certificate installed on the browser access service. So we'll go ahead and log in here with a quick overview. And let me just maximize that there. And once that's loaded, Business One is connected, but Field View will take just a couple more seconds to start up. In this corner here, on versions 9.3 and later, this little license information pops up, but you can hide it just by clicking on the Business One logo. Now from here, you can see the menu should look very similar to what you'd see in the desktop client. I'm going to bring that up over here so we can do a quick side-by-side comparison. And we can actually go ahead and access the same database here using the same user code. Your licensing should allow you to connect through 2 clients at a time, whether it's desktop or web. Right. There we go. So as you can see, side by side here, you'll notice that you don't have the cockpit dashboards. That is something that you won't be getting through the web client, although you can still use the web client for maybe employees that are on the road that don't necessarily have access to their full laptop at the moment. Or this is just a quick way to access and edit files on the fly. So although you're not, so as you can see here, this is missing, but the menus here, your modules, should reflect across. So we can see here what a report would look like just using the web client. Let's go ahead and run a financial report here on the general ledger, and it opens right up. Now this is still something that you can interact with on your desktop. Like, let's say if you wanted to export this to an Excel document, you can do that right here. We're going to go ahead and call this test general ledger. And once we run it, we can go ahead and click OK. And the file's downloading and it'll open right up for us. And let me drag this over onto the same window here. And as you can see, you can export right into Excel, work with your reports, and email them and send it to whoever likes to see that stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and back out of here. We can cancel that. I'm going to go through a sales order scenario here. If we had a new sales order we wanted to create, let's go ahead and just pick a previous one here that we run through. One thing here, I mean, this is auto-populating previous dates I've entered. But one thing you can do is just type in any key from the, any alphanumeric key, like whether it's J or W, and when you tab over, it'll just populate today's date. So as you can see here, I can put in something else, and when I tab out, it's a quick shortcut. Anyway, so down here, we're going to just grab an item and add it to our item lines. We're going to do 3 of these. Ooh, we have an inventory availability check. We only have 2 available. So let's go ahead and change to available quantity. Click OK. We'll sell them what we have, and we can generate a separate marketing document to procure more, or we can add it to this one. Either way, let's move along with the price, $100. Is there any other data that you want to capture? One thing that I'll point out with web client, one of several, but the form, edit UI form objects are not going to render as they would appear in the desktop. But what I mean by that is the form UI, if you were to move around certain objects, or if you had user-defined objects that were moved over onto the document before, you're not going to see them on the form itself, but you can view them by enabling the user-defined field here, making sure that check is flagged, and then it just appears here to the side like this. So I'm going to maximize it again because that makes a bit better use of my screen here. Now, one thing you'll notice, of course, I mean, we don't have the menus on the side, but you can still access all of them through the modules here. It's going to look the same and mirror each option. So let's go ahead and look at that sales order. We're going to add it here after we select the sales employee. And let's go ahead and remember our answer here. If we want to always update the existing rows for a document, this is important, especially if there's an address change or anything that you want to change with the shipping location. If you want it to apply to all documents, you would want to select yes here just to update all rows. So let's go ahead and add it. And that's it. So we can just click on this arrow up here to pull up the last data record, and we can see that this is the document we just created here, and everything looks good. We can make any edits to it that we need to, but for now I'm actually going to close out of it and show you what it would look like to access this same UI from the iPad. So that in mind here, let me switch devices. So here I'm accessing it from an iPad. Can I go ahead and just log into the same company we accessed before and make an edit to that sales order. So here we see it says I am connected to another client. So like I mentioned before, you can handle up to 2 at a time. I'm going to go ahead and exit my other device here. That was my mistake. And it should just take a minute for that to update on the license server and free up that access. So we're going to hop right in here. We'll hit refresh just to be sure. And key in. Much better. So we're going to minimize that message log. It's useful to have, but we don't need it right there in front of our face. We're going to minimize the license splash page. Let's pull up that sales order. And we're going to arrow to the most recent one. And let's go ahead. If we hold, if we long press, we'll have the option to access those right-click functions that you would through the desktop client. What we can do for this here, though, we're going to just make a quick edit to it. Let's add a row here. Oops. It will let me. There we go. There we go. And we added a line, updated the quantity. Let's go ahead and copy this then to a delivery document. There we go. And we can add that. Oh, let's see. There we go. Looks good to me. We're going to go ahead and add this. And there we go. That's what I'm looking for. Let's auto select the serial numbers, update the delivery, and then we add it. Perfect. So if we have a delivery out in the field, we can either go in through the desktop client if we wanted to make any changes that you weren't able to access here. Now, one thing I will point out, let me actually exit here. There's going to be a few limitations. As you can see me struggling through the iPad UI, it really depends on your use cases, and I know this would probably be a lot easier if I had a keyboard attached to the bottom. of this iPad here if it's like a keyboard cover. But anyways, here, let me stop the share. We're going to jump back over to desktop client and talk about some of those differences between the web and desktop. Okay, perfect. So just as an example here, I'm going to go ahead and run through another report. Here we go. And let's just generate our activities here. Scheduled service calls. And let's take a look here. So here we go. If we need to generate new field ticket, we can do that here and assign it to whoever we need. Let's say we have a contract and assign it to our fix-it team. Here we go. And we can even add in the BP code. And let's go ahead and add that. So from here, we can export this to an Excel document, name the file, choose our file type, and go ahead here. No, that was our old one. We're waiting for this. There it is. Sorry, it opened at the bottom. Didn't see it there for a second. Oh, we're going to open it anyways. And here we go. So let's minimize that and also see what it looks like if we want to export. Let's cancel that actually. Change my mind. Let's use a different example here. General ledger. And we can export that to a PDF. This is just coming right out of the browser. And right here, it opens up for us. And from here, I can, email or print it however I like to manage these files. Then this can be it. Back out of here. There we go. There we go. Click OK. I'll just run it again. And we can still go to preview layouts if we want to see how it would print out directly out of SAP. And click OK. We can select the format we want to use. And very good. 8 pages. You can download it or print it directly out of the Business One client. And how you want to save it. Very good. And then it opens up just like the other one that we clicked on, you can see here. So there's multiple ways you can go through it. So let's talk about maybe some of the differences. Like I said, the Business One client here doesn't have, well, does have your cockpit functions if you have common functions that you've dragged out of the menus that you want to use. This can still be useful for particular use cases if there's a need to access things on the go. So as I was mentioning earlier, one of the things that is lost through the web client is your ability to edit the form UI. So, oh, hang on, wrong button. Yeah, so if I want to edit form UI here, just as an example, I want to drag let's do PO approval. If it'll let me. There we go. Sorry, sometimes a little finicky. Perfect, perfect. So we have that there. Let's go ahead and save, and we're going to leave UI edit mode. And when we open a sales order again, oh, there we go. That's not what I want. These are the open documents. I want it is this. So here we have the sales order that we created and made edits to. It's closed now because the delivery has been processed on our iPad. But as you notice here, the PO approval that we just added to a sales order form, we're not going to see it when we jump over to Business One. So again, the desktop and web client do behave differently. So it's a good idea to get in and review basic functions to establish if it's going to make sense for you long-term to use for everybody, or maybe for specific use cases. I'm going to open up that sales order here and just so we have the side-by-side. Again, though, this isn't necessarily, I mean, it's up to you to decide if it would be a deal breaker or not, because there's oftentimes, depending on the role that the sales rep might have or what they need to be able to view and edit, this could be perfectly useful to them. Okay, so actually, I take it all back. So the sales order, okay, so the PO approval does show up here, but what isn't available is the ability to edit. So what you would want to do is make those edits here in the desktop client if you wanted those to be available and visible for your users out in the field that were just using this client. I'm going to go ahead and exit here. And this will bring us back to the login screen where we can choose a different company or finish our work for the day. And just closing out of the tab. And that's it. So if anyone has any questions, definitely reach out to me. One last thing I wanted to touch on was the field view functionality inside the web client. Once we get connected here, I'm going to expand this and wait for field view to connect. Let's go ahead and open up Job Master and reference our last job. This one's completed. So we'll go ahead and create a new one. Let's go ahead and set a start date. Let's go ahead and dispatch out. And we're going to go ahead and issue an access map. So we have a lot of those. Let's go ahead and add it. Once we approve it, the project does not have a customer set up yet. Oh, oopsie. Let's go back to the latest one. Approve the one we wanted. There we go. Update. There we go. And should have equipment delivery for 3. Oh, let me check the invoices. No, I see that one.
Our next one is on July 23rd, formatted searches with Business One. So please sign up for that. You can go to our resources page all the way to the bottom of the page. There is all of our upcoming Q&A cafes. So please register for those and have a great rest of your Thursday.
Thank you.